Hey guys, Techman here, also known as Matthew Rivera, and today is the very first video of 2022. I'm super excited for this video because we're going to be unboxing an SSD, and not only an SSD that has a terabyte of storage, it's a Gen 4 SSD. So let me explain to you why I got this after this. Hey guys, so as I said, I'm going to be unboxing this SSD. It is a NVMe Gen 4 1TB SSD from XPG. I do have a Gen 3 1TB XPG SSD, and that's already in there, and that's storing my games that I play on my computer. It is 7400 megabits per second, which is the read, and then the write is 6400 megabytes per second. So the 2TB one of the exact same design. This is called an S70, Gammix S70, and the 2TB one has a little bit more higher read and write times, which doesn't really matter for me, at least. So with that being said, let's unbox this thing. I'm pretty excited to finally place this in because I've been waiting about 2 days. Alrighty. And I've heard that the heatsink here is very big, and I don't think that'll be a problem with my setup I have here. So let's unbox this. We have a little sticker right here with our brand new unboxing knife. This is just an AMP, I guess Smith & Wesson. Okay, so we're gonna put this in and cut it that way, so it's away from myself, especially this is a brand new knife. Close that up and place it to the side. Okay, so it's supposed to be this way. Alrighty, so there's nothing else in this. And it's very tiny. I don't have big hands, but it's literally the size of my palm. So SSDs are pretty small. And of course, it's for the M.2 port that you plug in. And that's pretty much it. As you can tell, it has a pretty thick heatsink, which is nice. It dissipates the heat well. So there is a few things I want to talk about with this and a few things that you need. So let's just talk about it before we install this. So there is a few things that I need to cover for this. Make sure your PC is off and cool. The graphics card I have is right here, and then Gen 4 slot is right above it. And then there's the CPU cooler. So it's right here. So make sure at least it's turned off for some quite of a time, just in case you don't, you know, burn yourself. But after when I put this in, I have to create a partition and a volume and all that. I have to basically activate it because it's something new. I will show you all how to do that. So you need a few things for this, and also it depends on what your case is. So what you'll need is a Phillips screwdriver. That's a necessity you have to unscrew the screw to mount the SSD. Of course, you'll need the SSD. You'll need a USB thumb drive that has minimally or max of 8 gigs, so you can actually store and create I installed Windows 11 on the USB. And folks, that's it. That's all you need for this job. So let's jump into undoing this. This is going to be pretty fun, and I know this is going to take all night to sort of install Windows 11. So nothing like the president. I suck at quotes. It's time. Oh, 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 oh. What's your mind's at? Been telling you to make you believe that the right guy ain't right here right now. Alrighty, so as you can see here, this is the Gen 4 PCIe right here. So it is a tight squeeze right here. And this thing will be going like that in there. Alrighty, so I'm going to grab my Phillips head screwdriver. This is the one that fits there. So we're going to unscrew this screw right there. So I want to say something first before we start. There is SATA ports here where my finger is on the lower right. As you can see, there is the Gen 3 SSD right there that I use for my games. And then right over there, here is the SATA ports. Nothing's plugged into here. Everything else is preoccupied up. In order for these, the Gen 3 and the Gen 4 up top to work, is that you need to leave these unplugged. Don't have anything going to them, because then if you plug something in, those two will get disabled and you won't have your PCIe NVMe. So what we're going to do is we're going to line this up like this, and then we're going to make sure those lines fit up. You're going to push in and you'll hear you'll hear it pop in. So then you push down, and then where the screw goes, which is sort of the second to last screw in this section, you screw it into that area. I'm gonna So what happened is, when, as you saw, I was putting the SSD in, I was trying to put the screw in. Well, there was a significant gap where the SSD was. So where the stud on the motherboard is, and when you close it to put it where the stud is on the motherboard, it wouldn't touch the stud at all. And when you did this, you heard like a knocking sound, or like something hitting the heatsink on the bottom. And I was racking my brain up and I couldn't figure out why I was having these issues. Well, I brought it to my dad's attention, and as you all know, if you have stuck around with my YouTube channel, my dad has helped me a lot with a lot of things. I was trying to explain to him my problem, and it was just that little tiny thing that didn't have a stud on it. He was trying to explain to me how it all works and all that, and I didn't understand because I'm a very visual person. So he came into my room and he started looking at it. So grabbed the end that you screw into the motherboard and screwed it in. Now put in the SSD you're having trouble with, which is the Gen 4 thing that I got. So I slid it in. So I put it in the motherboard and pressed it down, and he's like, now screw the screw in. And well, it worked. And apparently I did it wrong with the Gen 3 one as well. So I took out the graphics card and I took out my Elgato game capture for nothing, basically, because I was completely clueless. So you learn something every day. I did not know that at all. I didn't know that you had to remove the screw and it sort of acts like a step or a stud that you can just literally put in. Now if you look at it, it's all even, because the Gen 3 was sort of slanted down, so, and I thought that was regular. So I was like, okay, that's fine. No, it's all of them are like perpendicular or just vertical now instead of being slanted. So again, my dad comes to the rescue, and there's no problem with getting help from my dad at all. He has helped me with a lot of things and a lot of solutions, and this was of course one to add to the list. And I'm very excited because I thought I had to return this. So let's put everything back together, and I'll start up the computer and we'll move on with the process. Alrighty, so everything is placed back together, and now I'm on my desktop. So once you installed your SSD, you're wondering, let me see if I can access it. So your first idea was to go to File Explorer, this PC, and you don't see anything. You see everything else like your C drive and whatever storage, hard drives or SSDs or thumb drives you have in your system, but literally nothing else is showing up. You're asking yourself why? Well, you have to go into something called Disk Manager or Disk Management. This is what it is on Windows 11. So you open it, and then that pops up. You're like, oh, what is this? So what this is doing is that you're initializing the disk, which is the storage or SSD you just installed in your computer, which is the XPG S70 right there. You're gonna press GPT GUID partition table. This is the most like fancy newest one. The master boot record is old tech, from like probably the thickest hard drives that has jumpers on it and all that stuff. So let's not pick that. We're gonna pick GPT. So press OK, and now you're gonna see this. This is unallocated, which means you still can't see it, and it's just the system's getting recognized by it. That's all it's doing. So what you're going to do is going to right click it and press new sample volume, and that will help create the volume and make it active, I guess you can say. So we're going to click that, and then you get this here. So this is basically the setup wizard, like you're installing a game on the computer or something. You go through a wizard. So you click next, and then this is what the maximum disk size it has. So it's not really a full terabyte. It is in a way, but you get a lot of storage in this. So press next, and it automatically assigns a driver ladder. Now this won't matter if you're using this for storage. Adding it for another storage thing, it just make it default at H or IJK, whatever. But when I press this H and I reinstall Windows onto it, it's going to change it to C no matter what. So it doesn't matter if you're going to install Windows and press, I don't know, Z. It's still going to do, when you install Windows, it's going to change it to C no matter what. So we're going to press H. Next, NTSF. You don't want exFAT because exFAT has a certain amount of storage you can place on. NTFS, I remember what it stands for a long time ago, so I don't know what it means. So you're going to do default unit size default. And then for new volume, it doesn't matter because it is going to be reinitialized as a C drive. So what you can put, I don't know, we'll do XPG SSD. And then once you press next and finish, it will format it completely, and then you'll be able to access it, and it brings you up this window. Pretty cool. It's pretty much straightforward. So as I said in the beginning, you'll need a minimum of 8 gigs of a USB. I have a Kingston 32 gigabyte 3.0 USB, and this has Windows 11 on it, not Windows 10, but this does apply to you if you're updating any type of OS, or even just restarting it with a new hard drive. So making a bootable USB is very simple. You really just have to follow Microsoft's tutorial or written tutorial. It's pretty much straightforward. So what I need to do is I need to shut this computer off and go into the BIOS, because we're going to insert this right now into the computer. And I have to change my boot drive or my boot sequence. So we're going to restart the computer, and I'm going to show you how to go into BIOS and do the bootable drive thing. So here we go. Okay, so once you shut off your computer completely, you're going to power it on, and depending on what computer you have, it's usually delete key, you press a couple of times, or F2 and you press that a couple of times. So let's turn this on, and we're going to press the delete key multiple times until BIOS comes up. Alrighty, there is BIOS. Okay, so as you can see, if I scroll down here, this thing is so finicky. If I scroll down, you can see all the storages here. So we're going to go over to boot priority, right? We're going to switch and move this to the top. So then I think it says switch, and see, it switched between the two. So we're going to say save and exit and OK. And then this thing is going to reboot, and it's going to show the Windows installation for Windows 11. Alrighty, so we're going to go through the installation process, which is pretty simple. Okay, so we are getting this error. The PC can't run Windows 11. This PC doesn't meet the minimum system requirements to install this version of Windows. For more information, visit the website. So I know why this is doing this. My computer does meet the minimum system requirements, but there's one thing we have to change, and if your computer does this, it's fine. I'm going to show you how to fix it. So we're going to restart it. I have a restart button on the top here above the power button, and we're going to press the delete key multiple times. Alrighty, so we're going to go into advanced mode, and of course your BIOS, if you don't have my motherboard or just basically anything different, is going to be a different layout, but it should apply to the same thing. So we're going to do advanced mode, and then we're going to go to, oh my lord, advanced, and then we're going to go to AMDT FTPM configuration, if I can press it. Alrighty, so basically what is happening is this right here, TPM device, enable discrete TPM. We have to switch it to firmware TPM. So this will allow Windows to run. And yeah, we will get this error, but it will return back to normal once we install Windows 11. It just needs that little oomph. Then we're going to do exit and save changes and reset, and then it'll work. See? So after when we restart this and everything, it's going to return back to normal. So this is what we do. We just follow, as usual, the instructions. We can't do this one because we want to install Windows only, which is Windows 11, and we can set it to a specific drive. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that, and then we're going to scroll down until we see our drive here. What we're going to do is we're going to select that, make sure it is selected, and click next. And then it's going to go through the installation process, and it should be pretty fast. So now this is saying choose an operating system. Windows 11 on volume 2, Windows 11 on volume 11. Alrighty, so this is future Matthew. What ended up happening is with this process specifically, when I installed Windows on the SSD, it was sort of like tethered. The SSD, the SATA SSD, was sort of tethered to the SSD. So when I unplugged that SATA SSD, and when I tried booting up to the NVMe SSD, it wouldn't boot up or anything. And when I went into BIOS, it didn't work, period. The SSD wasn't showing up in the boot priority. So I did some research, and it said that you had to do something called CPM and boot security key or secure key or something like that. You had to clear that. So what ended up happening was I completely removed every hard drive, not removed, sort of unplugged. I booted it up to the USB, and because Windows 11 was already installed on the NVMe SSD, I formatted it. Now here was the issue. I accidentally got rid of the partitions that they were creating. When I formatted the NVMe SSD, it got rid of everything, including the partition. So I had to put back the SATA SSD, and thank goodness I didn't erase that SSD. And then I loaded back into Windows. I did some research, and there is a command prompt that you can do that it restarts or just formats it with command prompt, and then it will automatically create partitions itself. You don't have to go into disk manager and anything like that. So after I did that, I shut down the computer, unplugged that SATA SSD, and went back into BIOS to reboot it. And I as well cleared the security key. So when I did that, the NVMe SSD was recognized, so I selected it, installed Windows, and it worked. And when you went back into BIOS, it actually showed up in the boot priority. There is an article, and I will link it in the description below, that you can use if you're running into this issue. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. I've never seen an actual setup of Windows 11, only 10. This is pretty cool. So it says this might take a few minutes, and hopefully it doesn't with the SSD that's in here. That's pretty much it. This is installed, and if we go to Windows Explorer in this PC, you can see storage, games, storage 2. Then it says a local. You can see this is the actual terabyte one, school, and then this one's a 240 right here, which is not being used. Have you subscribed yet? If not, what are you doing? You should. When you subscribe, there is something called a notification bell, and when you press that, you will get notified whenever I upload a video like this or any type of video. I also have a vlogging and gaming channel. The links will be in the description box below, and you can check it out at the last 20 seconds of this video. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. I know it was a little crazy, but I hope that everything made sense. If you do have any questions, comment down below and I'll gladly answer them. But other than that guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and this is the Techman signing off. See you later guys.